How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I have guys here tonight. Had to pull them out of the bed for the Scotland game. So we'll obviously talk about Broony. We're going to talk about Broony, Roy Keane, and the Scotland game tonight, and get the comments in as well, and see what you think about all the situations. So we'll start off today, guys. It's been lingering for the last 2 weeks about Scott Brown and the Aberdeen approach, and finally he's at the sign the pre-contract. How are you feeling about everything?
It's a wee bit like the Larson, like Henrik leaving. It has that kind of, I don't really know. Like we knew it was all coming. We all knew this day was coming. And
Eventually,
I don't think we expected it to come like this. I don't think anybody expected him to go to Aberdeen. But obviously, his ex-teammate Stephen Glass takes the reins at Aberdeen, and you know the rumour mill kicked in right away that Broony was the man that he wanted. And when Keith Jackson broke the story, I think was it Monday night or Tuesday night, the Daily Record. Although I think for long spells it still sounded like paper talk. It's that because there wasn't anything coming out of Celtic Park or coming out of Brown's camp. So you know you kind of still had that feeling like might just be paper talk. Hopefully it'll be fine. But listen, we've got him for the Scottish Cup, and hopefully we can go in and see him lift it one more time. Because I'm just gutted that the fans can't get in to say goodbye. You know, I know.
stick him attacking mid and Ibrox. Let us finish off with a goal.
I know the fans will eventually get back in, and he might be at Aberdeen still. Who knows? But listen, all the best to him. He's had an incredible run at Celtic, a run that I've never seen lasting 14 years.
That's it. I done a YouTube video, and I had to people might laugh at this, whoever's watching, but he has to go down as one of the greatest captains in world football for the commitment he's done for a club, the amount of honours he's done.
I said it the night. I was talking to Chris Bark and Mark Guido on the Go Football show, and I says to him, I says, honestly, I says he's the best captain in my lifetime. I said, I know obviously you can't discuss Billy McNeil because I was never in when Billy McNeil was captain, obviously. And Billy McNeil will probably go down as Celtic's greatest ever captain, but in my opinion, you know, there's nobody that can touch Scott Brown as captain. And I don't think that we'll see a player of his ilk again staying at the one club. You don't get that with players now. They don't stay at a club longer than 2 or 3 seasons. You know, he's been way Celtic for 14 years.
Yeah, you'd be lucky to get 100 appearances out of some players these days once they fish any a loan move or any transfer away from the gone. But like what he's done in his career, like regards to them derbies, European appearances, winning all them cups, lifting all them cups, like he wasn't absent for any cup finals. Like the unbelievable.
It's incredible amount of games, 613 games.
Do you know what sticks out to me? That treble when he got him and Lustig lifted it together because he knew Lustig was leaving. That always sticks out for me.
Aye, definitely. I mean, listen, 613 games is an incredible achievement to get to. 10 league titles, 6 league cups. He won one with Hibs as well. 6 Scottish Cups, and he's also Celtic European record holder, I think, record appearance holder. 127 games in Europe for Celtic. Nobody's
the managers he's worked under as well. Like I know people might say the snake, but Brendan Rodgers he's worked under. Obviously, he got a good relationship with Neil. Tony Mowbray actually gave him the captaincy, gave him the reins of the captaincy. Obviously, Gordon Strachan was the man that signed them from Hibs. If we look back to that famous incident back in 2004-5 season with Bobo Balde as well, like.
Aye.
It's mad to think that it's gone that far. Broony, you know, even for Scotland, 55 caps for Scotland. I'd say we're looking at it for an Aberdeen perspective. Is he going to play many games next season for them? Would it be just a chuckle in and play the big games?
I think he will play a fair amount of games. I think he'll play about a dozen games maybe for Aberdeen. Whether or no Stephen Glass sees him, I think Stephen Glass will want to get him in the team first and foremost. I think he'll want to get him in. And it was mentioned earlier on the night, you know, what young Aberdeen midfielder wouldn't want Scott Brown in our team to learn off it. You know, to get all that knowledge off it for what he's learned in the game.
So he'd be playing with Derek Ferguson in the midfield, would he be?
Lewis Ferguson now.
Lewis Ferguson, sorry, not Derek Ferguson. That's his dad.
It feels like Derek Ferguson's been playing that Aberdeen team. No, as I say, a lot of good young talent at Aberdeen that he can hopefully bring on. And listen, hopefully he does well with Aberdeen, and then he can move on to bigger and better things. Hopefully move on back to Celtic.
I think it's haunting Celtic fans because we don't get to see the proper send off he deserves. You know that. Like, I know, sure, as I know it's a global pandemic, folks, and I highly condemn stay away in the stadium. Don't spread any virus. But it's just haunting to say that we can't give him the proper goodbye. I know me and you were at his testimonial, and it was unbelievable and stuff like that. But it didn't even feel real that day. And we were having that conversation walking up to the Gallagate that bigger name should have been playing that testimonial. I know Larson and Mulgrew came back for it.
100%. I think it should have been up to Scott Brown. I don't believe for a minute Scott Brown picked a Republic of Ireland side to play. I think he would have picked maybe a Hibs select or just a selection of players he's played against and try to get a decent game going. It didn't feel real that day. It was very surreal. I think because there was 60,000 times.
It just felt like a marketing stunt, didn't it? Like a double treble, like champagne part. That's what I felt. It didn't feel like his testimonial.
There was a lot of sore heads inside the stadium, mine included, that day. So it didn't really feel. But I think because we knew it wasn't goodbye at the time. I think because we knew it wasn't a goodbye at the time, people just kind of went, cheered them, and then that was it. And then they went home and didn't think of it. And now I think the people that were at that game are probably like, at least I got to say goodbye in my own kind of way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. I know we have not much.
Or something during the way we're talking, but
besides the Scottish Cup, do you play him in the rest of the league games?
I still think he's got a lot in the tank to give. I mean, he put in a man of the match performance on Sunday. So I still think he's got a lot to offer. He's still got goals in him. I know he doesn't score a lot of goals, but he has got goals in him. And I believe in all the Aberdeen fans haven't taken the news too well that he's going to Aberdeen. I think
some Aberdeen fans I've seen on social media are delighted because they're getting an experience. The most decorated player in Scottish football now.
I think some of them are delighted. I think some of them aren't so delighted with obviously just previous games against them, and they feel like they shouldn't be going for somebody like him. But I totally disagree. I think if I'm an Aberdeen fan, I'd be delighted to get somebody like Scott Brown because you still got another year or two that you can play him in, and then obviously if he goes into the coaching side of things, hopefully does well there as well.
That's it. Like, I'd love to see how it pats out. Right, I put up a picture the other night of him and Tierney, and I got absolutely pelted for it. Said this is going to be our manager in 10 years' time, and that's going to be his number 2. I don't think Tierney would be still playing football in 10 years' time with his injury. I know he's obviously been a machine.
I don't know. Obviously he has had problems and all the rest of it, but I don't know. He might be playing in 10 years.
Hopefully does well at Aberdeen, about 2 or 3 years at Aberdeen. Obviously gets experience of coaching and something, and then Glass might get the boot 2 years in. Brown takes over for a season or something like that. Moves to Hibs, does well at Hibs, potentially wins a league cup or a Scottish Cup or even a Scottish Cup final. Then never know. Celtic job might be calling. I just feel what Scott Brown has done off the pitch for Celtic needs to be recognised. Like many international breaks when he's obviously retired for Scotland, he's flew to the Philippines and Thailand to do ambassador. Well, people forget about that stuff. Like
the thing is as well, a lot of people they associate Brown with being a dirty player, with being a nasty player, and looking at his stats, I couldn't believe it. He's average. I think he's average 8 yellow cards a season. And something like...
How many times has he been sent off for Celtic? 9 times in his whole career?
6 red cards.
6 red cards? Over 600 games.
Years. That's incredible. A red card every 100 games, roughly. Do you know what I mean? And you're saying to yourself, that's absolutely incredible for a player that's supposedly the dirtiest player in the league. You know,
what's your favourite Scott Brown moment besides the goal at Ibrox?
Well, besides the celebration,
the goal itself was a beast.
Do you know
what? People in the comments as well.
I think probably the winner against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park. When I'm trying to think, was it Rodgers that was in charge now?
Rodgers was in charge.
Was it Lennon that was in charge? I'm sure it was Lennon.
No, it was Rodgers.
Was it?
Yeah, Rodgers.
In goal line. The one
it was about
bundled it on and then he gets sent off after it.
Yeah, Rodgers was still in charge at the time.
I thought it was Lennon. No, probably that moment, just for what it meant. Just for we were up against it and getting back into the game and been a horrible, horrible game. And, you know, he bundles in the winner and jumps into the crowd. And listen, you don't mind if he gets a red card for that, do you know what I mean? Because he's jumped into the crowd and he's won you the game. So I don't really mind that. But there's so many moments that you could go over goals that he scored. That bullet against that, I think it was Inverness in the Scottish Cup. Absolutely some brilliant moments. As I say, the wind ups against Rangers, him and Halliday, him and
Morelos,
and all the rest of it. Morelos, you know. But I think purely for what it meant, I'd probably say the goal against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park.
I say the goal against Hamilton. The last minute was one of the big ones as well.
Another one, aye, definitely.
Another belter. He scored a double against Hibs, the game that we watched in your gaff.
The League Cup semi-final.
Yeah, double there, you know.
Some
really good moments. He scored against Hibs again, the Scottish Cup as well.
Against the Jambos as well.
Yeah, good few goals there. Remember, he was on penalty duties for a season.
Aye, he's done it all at Celtic, and for a player, and I laugh because I see the picture keeps floating about that when he signed, and he had the baggy Celtic jersey on and the baggy jeans, and you go, God, the
hack of them runners.
This is only 14 years ago, and you're going, was I wearing them? Was I wearing the jeans at the time? Yeah. It's like, it's mental how you just think, how can it be 14 years since he signed for us? And I'll stick my hands up, and I didn't think he would have lasted at Celtic. I thought we were getting the Scott Brown that we had at Hibs, where young boy, petulant, loses his head, gets sent off, and I just didn't think he would have made it. But not only has, I know he's had help with likes of Tommy Burns been at the club, and he's obviously had talks with Billy McNeil, God rest him, when he was here, and obviously being a captain, just learning how to be a Celtic captain. And who could forget? No, I tell a lie, I've got a favourite Scott Brown moment that night in Edinburgh when he slumped in the alleyway with a kebab. Absolutely tished at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's probably Ophir Park. That's probably my favourite Scott Brown moment.
The battle with the so-called battle with Joey Barton. That interview was brilliant.
Oh, aye, men against boys.
Oh, unbelievable! Like, you need to put all it together to actually say, like, it's hard to talk about the 10 Broony moments when you're overwhelmed with the news today. But yeah, he's here to the end of the season, folks. You know, I think the club should have done this in a better way. I think he should have came out and had Barwell and Kennedy and Brown in the press conference room and talking about it, you know, because this season, the way everything's done, being conducted, like people being let go and statements being issued, it hasn't been presentable. And we're going to talk about a statement that was issued the other night by Dermot Desmond. What do you think of that,
man? The interview that told you everything and actually told you nothing.
Exactly.
Pointless piece of journalism, in my opinion. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who conducted the interview, but it was a waste of time because he told you nothing that the fans didn't know. You know, didn't tell you anything about who we're possibly going for as manager. which way the club's going, just that they want to bring your club forward in a different way and this and that, and it told you absolutely nothing. I didn't expect him to tell you anything. I know somebody.
If they were asking about his shares, there's an idea that he could sell up as well. Now I know there's been talks of his son could be buying his shares over. That's the talks as well.
Aye. I mean, I don't know anything about that. I do think Fergal Harkin will possibly come in if Roy Keane's appointed. I think maybe Fergal Harkin could probably come in as director of football or director of sport or whatever they like to call it. It's a pointless title, in my opinion. It's a pointless job. It's
The big
not he needs. We need a manager, and the news broke today. Obviously, that the new Scottish season starts on the 31st of July. Which
literally a wet weekend from the Euros.
It doesn't give you that's 10 days or something after the Euros. It really doesn't give you that much time to get a new manager in. I think it rules Steve Clarke at the job. I think that's what it does. The fact that the season starts on the 31st of July, because there's no danger that he's taking that job and coming in with 8 days to go before the season kicks off. Absolutely no chance. Watching Steve Clarke as Scotland boss.
We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about the game in the last bit of it. But we're gonna.
What is there about Scott?
About the Scott Brown. Do you think Scott Brown will have a say with the club, whoever's left in the club, if it's the next chief executive, to give whoever, or even the next manager, whoever a manager it is appointed by the end of the season, to give Callum McGregor the full-time captaincy? Or do you go for Christopher Royer? Do you go for David Turnbull? What goes on? Because the reaction I've seen on social media over the last couple of days, not a lot of people are convinced with McGregor as a captain.
No, I'm I'm a massive Callum McGregor fan, and I've said it that I would rather give it to Christopher Royer, if nothing else, is bait to stay. To sign a new contract and stay. I just think you seem to get a wee bit more out of Christopher Royer, vocal wise, rather than Callum McGregor. I think Callum's very inwards. It depends whether Scott wants to put Callum's name forward and maintain that he should get it. Because obviously we've not got a manager or a full-time manager that kind of knows, like John Kennedy's not going to have the decision to make. So whoever comes in isn't going to know Callum McGregor. He's not going to know Christopher Royer or any of the team. Even if it is Roy Keane, he's not going to know the team. So possibly Scott Brown could and probably should have the say on who gets
exactly.
I would give it to Royer. Personally,
I give it to her as well, and I give it to Turnbull as voice. I just don't think Callum is good enough to be the captain, and you've seen in games this season, just don't think he's quite vocal. Like Callum's a terrific player. He has everything in the locker, but captaincy level, is it a case that because Scott Brown's been such a supreme captain in the last since 2010 that we're always comparing a player to Scott Brown?
Possibly, because when you look at it,
it's like every time you compare left back to Tierney standards after coming in to Celtic, are we living that much of an ego with the captaincy?
Well, that's it. Listen, you want a captain that can obviously communicate with his team, and Christopher Royer seems to have the loudest voice in that team right now. So I think I don't mean we've been blindsided by Callum McGregor for the last few years, but I think because of the amount of games he's played and because of the length of time that he's been there. I mean, nobody's saying James Forrest for the captaincy, and yet, the two of them have been at the club similar amount of years. So, I don't think Forrest is a captain either, but you're struggling.
Definitely not. Won't even. Yeah, we don't have.
You're struggling to even think of who's vice captain. I know you're saying
Julian.
Possibly. I'd possibly give Julian vice captain before David Turnbull. I just think it's too soon for Turnbull to be handed something like that. I believe you've got to work for it. Do you know what I mean? And I know he's had a great season for us, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do next year. But he's got to have a solid midfield around him, and with Brown going, then obviously Sorrow's going to go fit in it there, I'd imagine.
Definitely. Like, we're going to talk about Scott Brown, the players he played with in that midfield. Obviously, Kayal, Joe Ledley, Callum McGregor, Victor Wanyama. Who else rings a bell there? Stuart Armstrong, Tom Rogic, some really good players. Ki Sung Young, people forget about Ki Sung Young. Played in there with Charlie McGrew at times as well for Champions League games.
Charlie played in midfield as well. He's saw some amount of players come and go at the club. It's just it's crazy to think that obviously, as I say, we've still got a few games left. Yeah, but
it's not hitting home, man. I was watching a few of the videos now, and in tears. Like, it was just like, I've still
started a kind of collage of moments, Scott Brown moments, and put it on the page and all the rest of it. And but it's weird. It feels, I wouldn't say it feels worse than the Brendan Rodgers moment. But it's just the worry of, who's going to be there next year in that middle of the park with Callum McGregor.
It'd be Sarah and Turnbull. Like, you got to build the team around these.
I think in the near future it's going to be Sorrow and McGregor, but I think you've got to be looking at bigger than Sorrow. For me, I like Sorrow, but he just seems to want to get himself booked. He's a wee bit like Laxalt in that department. I think Laxalt's a good player, but he just seems hell bent on getting himself yellow carded, and I don't know why. And Sorrow does the same. He fouls players and fouls players and fouls players till he gets booked.
Inexperience. That's all it is. They're still learning the game.
Maybe, but he's got. I know it's hard because Broony's not been playing alongside him. I think they've only played one game together.
James McCarthy, what do you think? Do you think that'd be an ideal fit for a couple of seasons?
I think we need to step away for the James McCarthy and James McLean and step away from all this route of players that could have been and should have been at Celtic. Do you know what I mean? I think James McCarthy's had his chance long ago, and it's not happened. And listen, he's done well and been down in the Premier League in England, like many players. But no, I think I don't know who'd get in there, but it's going to be Sorrow and McGregor for the immediate. But I think you've got to be looking at long term at bringing in better players. But then again, it depends on who comes in the dugout to.
Definitely. So, folks, if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, I really appreciate if you could go onto the YouTube channel. It's the same name as the Facebook one, On the Hoop Celtic. I had to hit the 5K mark. It'll be a couple of weeks before I announce this big announcement what I'm going to do for mental health awareness. So, give me a bit of time to get it all sorted out before I can do it. Falkirk in the Scottish Cup round. Guys, optimistic?
Yeah, well, obviously, they'll talk of League One now. So they've had a good season. Tough. It was a tough win for them against Arbroath, but they got there. And the game is at Celtic Park, isn't it? I'm sure it's is at Celtic Park. It's a game we should take care of. But listen, who knows?
But this tail of this season.
Who knows this season? Ross County's came and had a go. So listen, they'll have no fear about coming here. But I think, I'm hoping that we'll have.
I'm just hoping it's not like the Dunfermline game last season when we had to do an extra time.
Aye. I think there'll be the impetus now with Brown playing, and I hope Brown plays the rest of the games now. In terms of,
even though you want to see a bit of experience with Sorrow.
Well, listen, you play Sorrow in the league games, I suppose, but I'd like Brown to play in the Scottish Cup.
What about on Ibrox? And against Aberdeen.
There's another one. I don't know. Thought of that. I would probably go with Sorrow. I don't know. See, this is the problem. You want to beat them, you want to beat them at Ibrox and knock them off a perch a wee bit. It's not going to mean much in the long term, the grand scheme of things. But what you do want to do is you want to stop this unbeaten run that they've got. I'm not going to use the word invincible because St Mirren's already.
They're not invincible. They got beaten in the League Cup.
Aye, St Mirren's beaten them in the League Cup, so I'm not using the word invincible. But this unbeaten run that they've went through in the league, and they've got some record at Ibrox. We should have beaten them at Celtic Park on Sunday, but with no. I think. I don't know. I really don't know. I get what you're meaning. Would you obviously you want to play Sorrow? If you're saying play Sorrow in the league, you've got to play Sorrow at Ibrox. But I don't know because I really want to beat them before the end of the season. So I might get them in the Scottish Cup, and if we get them in the Scottish Cup, then Broony can play in that game. Sorrow can play in that game at Ibrox. But it wouldn't surprise me if we get them in a cup. It really wouldn't surprise me.
I just have it in the feel in my head that we will probably get them in the semis. I just have that feel.
It's made. It's written in the stars.
Yeah, beat them in the semis. I have them just right into them. You know. I know.
If we get them in the Scottish Cup final, my God, if we win that, Scott Brown will be absolutely jumping. Honestly, it'll be buzzing.
Best way to send off. You know, definitely. And I'm going to talk to you about last Sunday. I haven't really spoke to you since. Disappointed with the results. I thought we was there for it.
Aye. Yeah, again, we've played really well and walked away with nothing. And they walked away with a point, but in terms of getting a win, they were there for the taking again. Listen, I know you said you didn't think it was a penalty. I thought it was I still think it's a penalty. I know Celtic have decided not to appeal the yellow cards, which is baffling. Because after the game, they're coming out and saying, I don't believe how the referee can make that decision. I don't know how he's came to that decision. It's a Stonewall penalty. If you think it's a Stonewall penalty, fight the cause then. Don't just go, okay, it doesn't matter. The league's gone. We'll just let it go. I think you're admitting that Edwards dived in. I think there's contact. And I says to you, I don't think, but I heard one of the pundits saying, if Edward just sticks his leg into the challenge, say, why do you need to stick your leg into a challenge for it to be a penalty? He slid in, he's lunged in. For me, there's contact, there's enough contact. And
you were saying about Barisic's reaction after it.
Barisic,
thought he was getting
hands up, pleads he's guilty, and I think he was very surprised. He was shocked when Colin came over to book Edwards. So I think his body language told you everything you need to know.
Like this Rangers team, they keep going on about, as you said, that invincible quote they keep saying. Like, realistically, we should have got them on Ibrox and we should have got them at Celtic Park. It's just Kennedy, his decisions, too late. Neil Lennon in the skies, that was all over.
Bottle merchant. I said it as soon as I seen the team, one up top, bottled it. And then I think he went like for like, didn't he? Did he put Edward on for? He took Edward off for Griffiths, I think, late on. Is that right?
Yeah, about 5 minutes ago.
Aye. When you're at one each, I don't get that. When you've nothing to play for, I don't get it. It just baffles me. He bottled it at Tannadice against Dundee United, and he's bottled it against Rangers.
What do you think of his comments? Look at that comment.
Rangers in the semis, Aberdeen in the final. That could be another one. I know.
Like Johnny, similar to what happened with Johnny Hayes.
I think it's Mark Guidi. It says it tonight on the radio. It says, you know what's going to happen. First day of the season next year, Pittodrie, Aberdeen's v Celtic, live in Sky Sports or something. You know, it's written in the stars. It'll just be.
Well, he's going to be reuniting with McGeoch and McGinn and Johnny Hayes, the boys to be.
McGeoch, chatting that he's played with. Listen, it's going to be weird, and I think partly the reason they've not done the big announcement and the big press conference today, I probably think Broony's been a bit emotional today. Maybe, I know it's not like him, but I think he's maybe not wanted to go in front of the camera. I know
Just yeah.
Statement. I know. Yeah, I think. Listen, it's going to happen eventually. So he's going to need to come on camera, and he will break down eventually. I think maybe whether it's his last game that he plays for Celtic, he'll.
I don't think I've ever seen Scott Brown cry.
I've never seen him cry. To be fair,
Even when he talked about the passing of his sister that time, like he held it all together.
I think he's got emotional about that, and quite rightly so. But you know, I don't think anybody's ever made Scott Brown cry. So listen, I think it will be interesting, and whether he cries or no, whether he saves it for off the cameras, I don't know. But I'm just gutted that the fans can't give him a farewell. You know, it's typical. It's this COVID season. It's just the way this season's panned out. It's like nothing else could go worse, and then all of a sudden,
I'm trying to forget what has happened this season. I'm trying to look forward to the rest of the games, like the Scottish Cup, because if we dwell about Ross County and St Mirren and getting beaten the 2 Glasgow derbies and stuff like that, it just lingers in your head, and you just get anger and anger. There's no point getting angry about it because it's done and dusted. Forget about what's in the past, move to the future. You know, like obviously today's Scott Brown's day, and also I just want to wish Scott Sinclair and Helen Flanagan congratulations on their 3rd child on the day of Scott Sinclair's birthday. Unbelievable stuff.
I didn't know the
yeah, baby boy,
future Celtic star.
I hope he's called Scotty as well.
Hopefully he's as good as his dad. No, but as I say, I wasn't too fussed when they re-announced the Scottish Cup, because I was like, no luck, we'll get put in the 3rd round or something, and they'll go in and win it. And but now I'm a wee bit more excited for it, because I'm hopeful that the players will give absolutely everything to go and win it for Broony, so Broony can go up and lift it, and you know, it'll be brilliant to go and win it. It's our trophy. It's our trophy. You know, St Johnstone said it with the League Cup. When St Johnstone won the League Cup against Livingston, they were driving by Celtic Park saying, "We've got your trophy." You know, that's a compliment in itself.
That's it.
So it's our trophy, and we've got to go and defend it. So
you have to go for 5 in a row on that now.
That's it.
It's mad to think, like, you go back to that pissy rainy day. Hamden, well, it was a bit sunny for a couple of minutes. Now Tierney loses his toots. You know, Stuart Armstrong scores a good goal. Johnny Hayes scores an absolute cracker against us. Obviously, dead to take the lead. We missed a couple of sitters. Obviously, Paddy Roberts hits the post, and Scott Sinclair. Oh, it's just like it was getting to the case where I felt like they actually had it in if they went to the extra time. I thought Aberdeen would have had us in the extra time. Like we always got to talk about that cross in, and you think he missed it on purpose.
I still think he had it, and he said that it was coming to Celtic. Because I don't believe that Johnny Hayes. You know, I couldn't believe that he played such a bad ball. I think it was for Rooney. Adam Rooney was waiting on it. But that moment when Tom Rogic just gets away from Considine, and bedlam, absolute bedlam, and jumping into the crowd, absolute blur. And that's the thing.
It was the same place where Dembele scored against Rangers, and he went over to that side.
Aye, exact same place. Exact same corner. The goals.
So Dembele's all right now. Corny was just high blood pressure that kind of made him collapse the other day.
Drove back. He drove home after training, and everything's fine. Touch wood, thank God. I did see the video, and
it's just horrific, wasn't it?
It just goes. It's like it's like, you know, watching
too much. He must have got a few bottles of that Weinbury original recipe sent over to him.
The 1901. It's like, you know, you're watching a boxing match, and Joshua just knocks this guy out, and he just goes way back the line. You're just like stars in his head, and you're like, wow. But thank God he's okay.
Massive experience with him playing with Luis Suarez as well. That's some. You know what?
And
Luis Suarez has been phenomenal this season.
He's gone for La Liga as well. So hopefully going
from the heights of the pissy rain in Glasgow, East End to fucking Madrid zone in a sexy stadium with the La Liga title.
Well,
with Simeone
we were talking about players. We were talking about players that that's been on loan and all the rest of the Celtic players. And we're saying Jack Hendry, Lewis Morgan kind of thing, and I'm saying, why would, obviously I know Lewis Morgan's away into Miami on a permanent now, but even when he was on loan, you're like, why would you want to come back? Do you know what I mean? You're like, East End of Glasgow, Miami.
That's it. I'll be
absolutely no question. You're playing for David Beckham's team.
Right, let's move on to Roy Keane. There's been obviously Betton was suspended by Paddy Power last night. I don't know how to feel about this one, guys. I really don't. Obviously, he's a good figure name. The name Roy Keane would scare the living shit out of you, but managerial experience, he hasn't done fucking much. Fair enough, he got Sunderland up to the Premier League, but Ipswich was an absolute disaster. So I want to get the comments from people in here. I know a lot of Celtic fans are going to be still moaning when he's appointed.
I don't know why Celtic are going for a guy that's been in management for 12 years.
10 years.
Well, 2008, 2009, with Ipswich. Well, sorry, joined Ipswich in 2008, 2009. So when he left, obviously, it would have been probably 2010, 2011. But 10 years even,
But the argument to this is, guys, he's been in the Ireland setup and he's been in the Aston Villa setup as well. So it's not like Andy done a bit of Forest.
No, I know
he's been around the game.
I know he's been assistant manager here and there, but it's a ridiculous appointment because Roy Keane lives in the 90s when he played. He still plays.
You can see with his punditry.
He still thinks that players should be running through brick walls. That it doesn't understand the player of today now. You can imagine him in the dressing room with, say, Edward, and he can't be that same Roy Keane, that bullish kind of guy, with somebody like Edward, because Edward will only take it like a Lee Griffiths would take it, or a Ryan Christie would take it, a Scott Brown. They would know what he's on about. They would know what he meant in terms of what he wanted for them. But players like Edward and maybe even Cham, if he comes back, I don't think they'll take it as well. You talk about diva football players like Paul Pogba. I just think Kylian Mbappe.
I think Keane would be living in the Ferguson dilemma days. The kind of the hairdryer treatment.
Aye.
He wouldn't. I think he'd probably still get away with the likes of Celtic compared to the top teams in the Premier League, like Man United and all.
No,
because they're not them high end Pogbas and stuff.
I still don't think he'd get away with it up here. I think he'd cause more trouble than he would actually do good. I don't listen as a pundit. I love watching him as a pundit. He's so entertaining as a pundit and all the rest of it. But when he gets into that dugout, I wouldn't trust him with my life. Honestly, I just think he's not the guy for us. But it's that whole Irish connection, and
it's a marketing tool, and it just feels like it's a marketing tool.
There's talks, obviously, Damien Duff possibly coming back in to I know Nicky, but obviously left Manchester United. Although it looks like he's going to Derby County with Wayne Rooney, that could have been a possibility. So you're kind of saying to yourself, if Damien Duff isn't the answer and Nicky Butt's not the answer, who is Roy Keane bringing in? That's
Miguel Richards.
Listen, I'd take Micah Richards over John Kennedy.
I think once we can get that laptop out the door, that's the main thing.
Aye.
That's the main.
Aye. I can still see him being there next year.
Do you think Roy Keane? Do you think Roy Keane could attract players? That's the big question that a lot of Celtic fans have been asking.
He'll attract them more than
like Neil Lennon would have.
He'll attract them more than Neil Lennon and John Kennedy would have. But I don't know if he'll attract the really big players because of his personality. I don't know if many players will want to come and play for him. I say I don't know what he is like in the dressing room.
Do you think if Scott Brown was to stay, well, let's just look, I know he's had to sign the pre-contract. Just say we go back 24 hours ago, and this was the talk. Think what Scott Brown's relationship with Roy Keane would have been unreal. Would have been amazing.
It would have been fiery. It would have definitely been fiery, and I think. I
think every Celtic fan would always back Scott Brown to the hills.
It would have been a clash. It would have, if something went wrong, it would have been a clash of personalities. And Brown would have said black, and Keane would have said white, and that would have been it would have been a standoff. So that's what I'm saying. I think Celtic's got to be wary with this appointment, whether it is Roy Keane or whether it's somebody else. I don't know. The main name that seems to be getting mentioned is Roy Keane. It's funny because supposedly Martin O'Neill got asked a question that, you must have spoke to Dermot Desmond about Celtic's next managerial appointment, whether it was just to give advice or whether it was to ask if he was available. And Martin O'Neill turns around and says, "I've not spoke to Dermot Desmond in 2 years." No, I'm not buying that for a minute. That he's not spoke to Dermot Desmond.
I think it's bullshit because he's been up a few times in the
punditry. I'm not buying that for a minute. So that's Martin O'Neill obviously shutting barriers and saying, "I'm not telling you anything." So whether he knows something and he's just not letting on, I don't know. But you'd imagine that Martin O'Neill could be a good figurehead to go to and get advice about the next managerial appointment. I was actually looking at him in the punditry last Sunday, and I thought to myself,
done a good job. I have to say, enjoyed it.
And I thought to myself, possibly could he come back and, because what you need to do now is Steven Gerrard's won Rangers' first title, and you're saying to yourself, you need to approach this calmly. You can't go in with just a big name. You can't go in with a name like Frank Lampard, Rafa Benitez, blah blah, and just go gung ho. You've got to think about it logically, and Martin O'Neill's that kind of guy.
Financially as well, because you don't want to go in and throw fucking mad money as well at rebuilding the squad, and they're all shite like what happened this season.
Next season. Next season is a £30 million title race, because whoever gets there is guaranteed Champions League football the following season. And that's what I'm saying. You need somebody like a Martin O'Neill brain just to step back and say, right, I know what I need to do, and I know who I need in. Celtic should have broke the bank and brought in Fraser Forster and Ivan Toney. And had we done that, I don't think Rangers would be celebrating. But it's ifs and buts.
If it's about, there's no point in the what if game now. At the end of the day, fucking, we lost the league.
If Manny had balls, should be my uncle. It's there's no point in deliberating over it. No, it's done.
Sunderland fans were partying when he left because he was his last kind of year. Sunderland, he was a fucking disgrace.
Players were celebrating as well.
Didn't he get hammered by Bolton 5-1 at home at one time?
I'm not even sure. But it was. He looks very bullish. He looks almost Decano-ish. When you look at Decano and his managerial roles, I think they're very similar in terms of, I think the two of them look
living on the ego, not living on the tactical side of it.
Very fiery, very kind of doesn't know how to handle certain players, and you've seen it with Decano at Swindon when he was setting about his own player down the tunnel. You can't be doing that in this day and age.
Definitely. I think with the likes of Eddie Howe should have been done and dusted by now. I don't know. I just think he's holding off on English football. And Benitez, Rafa came out and said that he wants to manage in England again. So that's Benitez not going to happen.
If Eddie Howe was coming, he'd be here by now. If he's coming up to Scotland, he'd be here by now.
That's it.
Because what an incentive for a manager to come in, 5 games in the league to get to know your players in a Scottish Cup to go and win.
Do you know who I think
Scottish
Eddie
Cup.
Howe will take? Do you know who I think Eddie Howe will take over next season? I know the manager's doing a good job with them at the moment, but I could see him leaving in the summer. Leeds.
Bielsa?
Yeah, I think Bielsa will leave. I don't think he'll go to Celtic. Don't think he'll want to go to Celtic. I think.
No, Bielsa when he comes to Celtic. God, can you imagine that?
I think we'd be frustrated because he has a translator. I think the fans will get, the Scots get like fucking speak. But no, I just have a feeling that he'll go to Leeds or something like that. Look, if it happens with Keane, it happens. I'll soak it up and get on with it. As much as it'd be kind of disappointing the board, they haven't shown character literally on cameras. Never mind what they do in the background. There's a transition.
If he comes in, I'll back him. But to a point, I made the point earlier on that I was talking about Celtic fans and their abuse of certain players that are still at the club, whether they're on loan or whether they're in the first team. Ryan Christie comes to mind. The posts and the abuse I've seen for Ryan Christie this season,
the rugby goals.
Diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. Something about there was a post last night. I don't know what page it was. So I'm not going to second guess and maybe get the page wrong, but there was a page that put up a post, and I'm sure it was something like it was a rugby related post, and Ryan Christie would have got 5,000 goals and blah blah and this and that, and I just think he's had a bad season. Lee Afterboy, he's scored goals that's took us to the Scottish Cup final and helped us win the Scottish Cup final. Obviously for last season. He scored some big goals for us. He would run through brick walls for Celtic, and I was glad to hear his statement during the week saying that he's committed to the cause at Celtic, that the players are gutted at losing the title and that they're ready to go and get that title back next year. And that to me sounds like a player that wants to be at the club. It's why Lewis Morgan left. It's why Jack Hendry left. I just don't get these keyboard cowards that are quick enough on social media, but if they came face to face with a player, wouldn't open their mouth.
They want an autograph with them.
Exactly, want a selfie with them. Listen, players can't win games every week, and at least Christie's trying. It's not always working out for him, but it really.
Well, he has been playing out of position most of the season, Cass.
Aye, and that's what I'm saying. He's still trying. He's still trying to make things work.
I thought he played brilliant the other day. Like not attacking wise, defensively. Got the most things right.
I'm first to admit that he's not had a great season, but nobody's had a great season at Celtic.
I think last season, was he on nearly 18 goals, 19 goals last season compared? I think he's 6 goals this season.
Aye, it's as I say, he's just. I did see a stat, funnily enough, for somebody, and I think there was 4 different. It was like goals scored, goals assisted, crosses into the box, such and such. And it was actually like in the top 2 for most of them. Do you know what I mean? So he's clearly not had that bad a season, but it's like the Scott Sinclair thing, the majority of fans got Scott Sinclair's back, and yet I think he was a top goal scorer in the treble years.
Mm-hmm.
I think he scored something like 62 goals.
It was
top goal scorer out of every player on that team. So, fans need to get off their high horse a wee bit.
I wonder what they're going to be like when Hendry comes back after. I hope he comes back and actually.
I'd love to see him
spot with Welch.
I'd love to see him come back and cement a place in that team. I don't think it'll happen because the figure that I'm getting that I'm hearing is close to 10 million.
From Villa.
Villa is supposedly after him for 10 million, but obviously the team he's at, Oostende, is desperate to sign him. They are raving about him in Belgian football now. So listen, good luck to the boy. Obviously, I know Lewis Morgan's found his feet over in Miami as well, but good luck to Jack Hendry obviously as well. Listen, Cham could be back next season. Depends who's in charge, because I don't think he's getting a kick of the ball. And for
that permanent move that he's looking for from Marseille, what did it turn out?
Funny,
Manager resigning.
He might need to come back here and play a season or two and try to get another move.
Hopefully, we're going to move on to the Scotland game, folks. We need up to the hour. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's watched tonight. The comments coming through are brilliant. If I haven't got through your comments, I will go back over the live and then I will rehearse in the next live. I'm planning to do one tomorrow night with Liam. Me and Liam are actually going to do a Q&A. So we're going to get people to throw questions at us, random questions, random Celtic questions, and bit battle between the two of us, and then you just put the answer up. So it's a test out the intelligence of myself.
Like a quiz or just a...
Yeah, I think it's easy to get you on it as well. Scotland game, watch it tonight, watch the second half of it. 2-2 result, good result for Scots, I think, as an outside perspective. What do you think?
I think there's some difference in the Scotland team of old. I think the old Scotland side would have went 1-0 or 2-1 down, and the heads would have went down and they would have chucked it and they would have went on and lost the game. This team seemed to want to go the whole 90 minutes. They want to play the whole 90 minutes. Fantastic goal for John McGinn. Absolute belter of a goal. Overhead kick, Gareth Bale-esque. Brilliant header for Grant Hanley. I thought Shea Adams come on and done well for us. Only got 25 minutes. Hopefully we'll see more of them in the next two games against Israel and the Faroes.
Tierney got stuck in well tonight, I thought. Robbo played well for you as well.
I think Tierney the only time Tierney really got caught out was their disallowed goal. It got disallowed for a shove. There is contact, but it's minimal. I think.
Just speaking on the Austrian goal, the shot that was obviously Marshall. Do you think Marshall could have done better with that? Could have put it past the post? Yeah. It was a more central, too central for it.
I would need to see it again, but I'm pretty sure it bounces just in front of him, and that means he can't get a hold of it. I was surprised that Jack Henry got a start tonight. I did think he was going to be on the bench, but he started him and he done all right. He did get caught out for 2 goals, I have to admit. But listen, the more games he plays for Scotland, he'll get himself into that kind of position, and he knows he needs to do.
What about Donald? What do you think of Donald tonight? Donald played well.
O'Donnell put some good balls in. Absolutely robbed for the penalty. Ryan Christie is getting rugby tackled to the ground, and the referee Christie was on a booking. This was my point. Christie was on a booking, and he gets rugby tackled to the ground, and the referee makes a gesture, no chance, get up. And I'm saying, if you think he's dived,
VAR should be in these qualifiers. This is like 100%. a massive stage going into the biggest competition in world football should be implemented into it.
If VAR is in that game the night, we possibly go and get 3 points. I'm not saying we would have, but we would have got the penalty definitely. I probably believe that their goal would get allowed, but I don't know. I'm happy enough with the draw, purely because we were behind twice and we came back twice. And listen, this team's got goals in it and this team's got points in it. So
John McGinn's overhead kick was pretty good. Lyndon Dykes didn't play that well for years. Che Evans made his debut for Scotland, so it's a lot of positives.
I felt for Dykes tonight because he was up there himself for the majority of the game. He had, I would say, one kind of half chance where the ball gets fizzed across and he just doesn't get there quick enough. It's an open goal, but listen, he's got goals in him and he's already scored plenty for Scotland, plenty of big goals. So I'm pretty sure that he'll make amends in the next 2 games.
Tierney stepped up the game at Arsenal, hasn't he? In the
he's an animal, man. He's an absolute beast.
Talks of him getting the captaincy or something like that at the moment, isn't there, Arsenal?
I could see him as Arsenal captain because you see it when Arsenal play, when they don't play well, when the heads are down, and he's the one that's getting everybody up for it, and he's the one and Arteta loves him, and I'm so happy for him that he's doing well down there. I would have loved to have seen him go and win the FA Cup again.
Yeah, they got knocked out.
Aye,
by Southampton. But what was I going to say? Trying to think of something else there. Yeah, I think it's as I said, the next 24 hours will let us sink in with Broony's news. The press conference is obviously going to hit hard. I think it'd be more of a, I think it could be more of a Jerry McCulloch and Scott Brown 1-to-1 for that.
I'd imagine so. It'll be kind of set up in a kind of way that, they'll get a.
I wish they'd done something like what they did with Ronaldo and Messi. Have the table and have all the trophies in the middle of the pitch.
Aye.
Fair. Look, think about it, the trophy's still there at the moment. Put it out there.
True. It's an incredible amount. I think the stat I saw the other night was Scott Brown has won more trophies than like PSG, Barcelona.
Yeah, that's what I put up as well. Yeah,
I remember the other teams like Man United and all the rest of it, Man City. That's incredible stat.
Rangers 21 to go.
It's just he's going to be so missed. As I say, I'm going to go in and do the wee collage and just go through all the photos and the memories of Scott Brown, and I'll probably go in and do a live tomorrow at some point on the page, and just kind of get everybody's thoughts and everybody's reactions 24 hours later. As I say, it's going to be. I don't know if I'll be like I was with Larson, mate. Larson's last game against Dundee United.
Because you were younger then. Think about
I was younger. I was in tears when Larson left. I will shed a tear probably for Broony. I don't think it'll be along the same terms, but listen, hopefully we go and win this Scottish Cup for him and let him lift his last bit of trophy.
Definitely. Right, we're going to leave it there, folks. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Good podcast tonight. Good bit to run past them. Hopefully, if something develops in the next 24 hours about Roy Keane or any manager stuff, we'll be back on it. But I just want to wish Scott Brown a very successful career. I know we have him for another month and a half, but we'll take it as it is, But I'll speak to you all soon. Take care of yourselves. God bless. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.